Welcome to my WOW Chats, words of wisdom with people that I admire and respect and whose work is in line with making this world a better place. This is Carolyn Vandyken, and if you have not heard of Carolyn, I'm going to leave a bunch of her stuff from the bottom here underneath so that you can see all the brilliant work that she's been doing over the years. But I think I first heard of you and your work, gosh, it must have been probably almost 10 years ago.
Wow. Okay.
And I've come across some of your presentations that you've done at some conferences, like on YouTube and that. And I love how clearly you speak, how you seem to always speak from your heart. And then of course you're so knowledgeable, and all of your work is so evidence informed. And but I don't think I really want to talk about work per se with you, because I'll send all the links and people can find your work. We had a really nice walk yesterday. We're at the San Diego Pain Summit, and it was just we talked about work, we talked about personal stuff, and one thing that I really admire about you, I always have, is your ability to just be real and to admit when you're wrong or make mistakes, or you're open to saying I don't know. And then you seem like someone who has a lot of courage, and I see you just as this woman that is courageous to speak your truth, the truth, to ask questions, which I think takes a lot of courage as well. And so my question for you is, what does courage mean to you, and what are some ways in your life where you feel like you have been courageous? You don't have to be specific, but in general, like whether it's personal or work, but where can you say, yeah, like I do feel I'm courageous here, or Shelly, I don't think I'm courageous, and this is how I would like to be more courageous.
Right. Okay. I mean, I'm not sure that I would have used that specific word to describe me, but I guess I've always been willing to put my thoughts out there, to be authentic to what I think and what I believe. I've not really been much of a crowd follower, so I tend to kind of make up my own mind about things. Have you
always been like that?
No, I would say growing up I wasn't. I was very much someone who wanted to fit in, and I'm not sure that I really ever quite fit in, so maybe I just kind of figured I should just be who I am and be okay with that. But I think being courageous just means really being authentic, right? To really be true to yourself and what you believe, knowing that other people might not always agree, and that's okay, but you need to be okay with that, And a good example, I think the most recent example that I really can think of was last year at the San Diego Pain Summit when I presented on low back pain and pelvic floor dysfunction.
Okay.
And when I sat down and I sat beside Sandy Hilton again, who I've done a lot of collaborative work with, and she's a great friend, and I've really enjoyed working with her. She said to me, someone just tweeted that you're pathologizing the pelvic floor. And I took a step back and I went, I'm not pathologizing the pelvic floor. I believe that the pelvic floor really is affected by tension, and that's mostly a top-down issue, and I think low back pain is mostly a top-down tension issue. We tend to overprotect it, we tend to pathologize the low back. But then I really had to take a step back, and because that comment kind of got under my skin a little bit.
Because you're the last person that anyone would accuse of pathologizing the pelvic floor, because you know the biopsychosocial approach.
Right.
And you kind of, I'm putting words in your mouth,
right.
But I would, if I were you, if I was Carolyn, I would kind of pride myself in not pathologizing.
Right.
Okay.
Very much. So I was like, I got very defensive. I am, and Sandy tweeted back, because I'm not on Twitter. So Sandy tweeted back that, no, that's not how Carolyn meant it, right? But it gave me pause, actually, and it really I think it's affected me through all of 2017 to really look at my thoughts and beliefs and my confirmation bias around, I had let go of a lot of pathology in the pelvic floor, but I think I was still holding on to some, and I'm, when you've been a physio for 32 years, and you grew up in pathology and you grew up in biomechanics, and that's what we're always taught, it's this unshedding of those beliefs that is a slow process, and we have to give ourselves time to do that. But that certainly for me was a time where I got kind of defensive, but I then had to sort of really self-examine and say, no, I have to let that go. It's not about pathology. We're not fragile. There's this correlation, but they're both about tension, and we really have to take a top-down approach. So anyways, that was my story of being...
And that takes courage to look at yourself in the mirror and say, maybe I have... Yeah, that's great. Thank you. Now, okay, before we stop, though, just back on this courage. So you said, at the beginning of that, you said being courageous means like to be your authentic self and be true to...
Right.
So what would be your words of wisdom? Okay, that sounds great. How do you know what's your true authentic self?
I think to be true to yourself, you have to spend some time with yourself. You have to be still.
Yeah.
You have to have a relationship with yourself. You need to be comfortable in your own skin, and that takes courage to actually to be still. And for a lot of us, we're so busy being busy that really when we're still, we learn a lot more. And so learning to be still, it's a practice.
I love it.
That's what I would...
Words of wisdom, Carolyn Vandyken. Thank you. Thanks. Thanks for watching this WOW chat with Carolyn Vandyken. For more of her work, please check out the links below. And for more words of wisdom from other people that I admire and respect, check out some of my other WOW chats.